We are live. It says we are live. And guess what you get to do? You get to share. Go ahead and hit share to all your groups, your friends, everybody that you know and love, because today we're going to be talking with Dr. Jennifer Gramith. And we are going to be talking about juice cleanse and possibly a little bit about the water fast, because I did a water fast last year. And I think this year I want to do a juice cleanse. So who wants to do this with us? And when I say us, I mean us, all of us, even Dr. Gramith. And so let me go ahead and start the recorder. And remember, please remember that if you have any questions during the live broadcast, just write a Q, and whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. And later on, when you're listening on podcast or maybe BitChute, if you have a questions, you can reach me at Lillian@whenyounneedafriend.com, or you can, whatever. If you post something below and I get to it and I get to see it, then I'll reply back to you. So today, like I said, we are looking at juice cleanse. With all this illnesses and craziness in this world, this is another way that we're going to improve our immune system. So fasten your seatbelts, because we're going to learn and grow together. Time to dance, Dr. Gramith.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough, if you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, because Dr. Gramith is in the house, in the classroom, then please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, you've seen Dr. Gramith here before. She is just like a little Swiss Army knife of just so much knowledge. She can help you with your lymphatic system. She can help you with cancer. She can help you with finding the root cause, spirit, mind, and body. But with all the craziness in the world, how about we supercharge our body? How can we do something like that? And I was talking to Dr. Gramith, I think it was a couple of months ago, because she's that busy. And I was saying, what about a juice fast? And she's like, that would be a great way. So we're going to learn about how juicing helps us, how it improves our lymphatic system, and more. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that not only is she a wonderful doctor, but my friend, Dr. Jennifer Gramith. Welcome back to the classroom, Dr. Gramith. We've missed you.
Thank you, Lillian. It's my pleasure, as always, to be. This is one of my favorite shows to do.
Well, you are our teacher in the classroom today, and we are going to be taking notes because, we are kind of like unraveling this as we go along. And just know that all of you who are watching and who are we watching later on or listening later on, you can be a part of this too, because we're talking about maybe the first week of August 7th, around that Friday, and do either 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days. We're going to unravel that. So you place your vote. What do you want to do with us? Do you want to join us? And if so, you could just email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com, and then we'll get you signed up for our daily calls. So with that in mind, Dr. Gramith, share a little bit about your background for those people who may be tuning in for the first time and just falling in love with you too.
All right. So I'm a naturopathic doctor here in Atlanta, Georgia. And like Lillian said, my specialty is oncology, but also anything to do with chronic disease, whether it's Lyme disease, diabetes, heart disease. That all has to do with the environment that we live in. And 95% of it has to do with what's at the end of our fork. And so knowing that, you can really make a major impact if people will take that information and run with it instead of trying to take a pill for every ill that they have. You know, that's never going to be an answer. That's never going to cure disease. It's going to create more and more diseases. If you study Sherry Rogers' work, she says every drug, pharmaceutical drug that you take increases your side effects with every new one that you add 20-fold. So no wonder people walk around with having so many side effects. And what do? They get another prescription to cover up the symptoms of the new side effects from the drugs that they're taking. So people are getting tired of it, thank the Lord, and they're wanting to take responsibility and take back control of their life, and I am so excited about that. I've been practicing for over 20 years in this field. Prior to that, I was in mainstream medicine as an oncology nurse. I worked in internal medicine and cardiology, so that is why I have a passion to help those types of cases. So I know both sides of it, and you know, when you really seek health, it's going to take you down a total different path than what the allopathic route. And not that, you know, medicine is bad or it has its purpose, but it is never going to give you health. Never. Yeah.
You know, that is such a great way to start, because many, as you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. It's not that I'm against the pill, because I know that there are some life-saving, short-term, life-saving pills. And then after that, that's our awakening moment. This is our aha, I need to do something different. Just like what we've been talking about the last 5 months, that with the pandemic and coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, it's made us see that people who have other illnesses, that might be taking medications, that maybe have been vaccinated, is causing this to just magnify. But for the most part, people just, it's a flu, some people don't even know they had it, so on and so forth. But this is a time where we can say, you know, this is a wake-up call. So what else can we do? What else can we do? Go ahead.
It definitely should be a wake-up call. And if you really look at, you know, medicine, when it began, the pharmaceutical industry, it was not meant to be a fix-all for everything. Medicine was, you know, used in emergency situations, and that's where it shines, and that's where, like you said, it's life-saving, but it is not going to help you to manage or maintain health. And so, you know, you've got to step aside or step out of that mindset of thinking that, okay, I have diabetes, so I'm just going to take insulin and that's going to solve all my problems. It actually worsens your pancreas, and it's going to lead to heart disease or cancer or other types of, exactly. And so that is, if you truly want to be healthy and want to enjoy your life, that's not the answer you're seeking. It doesn't mean that for a time period that you need to take it because your blood sugar is 1400 and you got to get it down quickly. But again, the problem isn't the lack of insulin in the body. The problem is your diet and lifestyle. In most cases, type 2 diabetes is very easily treated if you change your diet and lifestyle. And same thing with cancer. Cancer doesn't fall out of the sky and hit you on the head one day and, oh, I have cancer, I'm an unlucky soul. No, it grows within due to what you put in the body and on the body and what you think. And so there's a lot more to it, but we do have control over that. And so that's why I love juicing. You know, it was about 15, 17 years ago when I did my first juice fast. And Lillian, I'm one of those who, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it 100%, you know. And I did a 30-day juice fast the very first time. Yeah, I'm like,
That is like shocking. 30, but you know, after doing the 5-day water fast and not being hungry for 5 days, and I'm hungry like every minute of the day, and going through that time, I can imagine how pure you felt, how light you felt.
it's remarkable, you know. And so there is a difference. There's reasons that you do a 1 day, a 3-day versus a 5-day, because there's different stages of fasting and different things happening in the body. And so with the stages, like stage 1, that's between day 1 and day 2. And that's where people stop. And a lot of times they finish because that's where all your symptoms are. You get, you know, your blood sugar drops down to around 70. You kind of feel lightheaded. You get a headache. This is what we call a Herxheimer reaction or a healing crisis. And people are like, oh, no way. Because they think that it's going to be like that the entire time. But that is just the first couple of days. And so that's stage 1. And your body is just trying to figure out what is going on. And so everything slows down, your heart slows down, your blood pressure tries to balance out. And so you will feel a little lethargic, your muscles will feel a little weak. This is very natural and necessary, okay? So don't stop in day 1, day 2, because you're just basically scraping or skimming off the surface. You're not getting into any deep healing. So stage 2 is day 3 to day 7. And there's a lot of things that go on, and you're starting to get a deeper cleanse, and your digestive system's like, I don't have to process all this processed food and try to break this down. And then your immune system that's sleepy-eyed because it's so burdened with all of the toxins from the foods that you've been ingesting, you know, day after day after day, it starts to wake up. So your immune system doesn't even start to wake up until the second stage of juice fasting. And so, or water fasting too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, you know, one thing I always hear from, and this is so funny to me, but I remember thinking the same thing. Well, I would think, oh my God, you're not going to eat anything? You're going to starve to death. I mean, how many times have you heard that? And, you know, you're not getting any protein, you're not getting any amino acids, and that can be further from the truth. And so I don't recommend juice fasting for people who have eating disorders because it's misused and they don't get the quantity that they need. And so, you know, that's a total different, but for those who do not, that is really wanting to do, whether it's just a short-term fast, or they really want to heal their body because they're dealing with a chronic disease, juice fasting is one of the best tools to do that. And so in the stages, stage 2, day 3 to 7, your body starts breaking down your adipose tissue and extracting the toxins at that tissue level. And so you will have days during that time where you will feel a little lethargic, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you have clear brain and you have energy and you're like, wow, I feel like I did when I was a child. And then the next day you kind of feel crummy again, and then you feel good again. It's nothing compared though to the first couple of days as far as the healing crisis. So that's stage 2, and that's when people do the 3 to 7 days. So you're going to get a little bit deeper cleanse, but it's not their deep, deep cleansing. The deep, deep cleansing takes that 30 days of detox.
Really? 30 days. Now, you said you don't recommend this for people with eating disorders. So I want to go back. You had said earlier, which I made a note to get back to, and I'm glad that you said this, but 95% of diseases is at the end of their fork, or causes of diseases at the end of their fork.
Right.
But what about the emotional component? And when you're looking at the end of your fork, your emotional component is at the end of that fork as well. And so if you have eating disorders, let's make that connection to that emotional component.
So if you're talking about with like anorexia and bulimia.
Yeah, maybe healing some other aspects of your life because you have that psychological, background, like psychology background that
Right.
yes.
Yeah,
So
it usually has to do with not wanting to be seen. And so it goes back a lot of times to trauma that the person has endured where like bulimia is typically they gorge on food and then they throw it up because of the disgust. They're just disgusted with themselves. And it really isn't anything to do with them. It's just the way that they felt. As a child, maybe they had a parent who, they could never measure up to that, to talk down to them. And so they just felt worthless. Anorexia is definitely where you just don't want to be seen. You don't want attention on yourself. So you get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier to not bring attention. And just basically, it's kind of a cry to just fade away and die. And that you're not really going to be noticed. So yes, there is a tremendous emotional root, and it doesn't even have to be that severe. I grew up when I was sad, my mother would bake me cookies, and so I fed my emotions with sweets. And as a young child and adult, when I would get stressed out, I would go to the sweets, and that happens to many of us, which feeds inflammation and candida in our body. And so then we struggle with that and all the side effects from that. So it can be, you always want to deal with the emotional component. But what's great too about fasting is that there is a spiritual plane that you get on because you are making your body submit to what you want it to do instead of just the food controlling you. So it actually gives you back that empowerment. Okay, I do have control over this. I can do this because I know it is good for my body. Yeah.
very good. It's good to know because, if someone should not do something, then let's do something else. Let's dive deeper into the emotional aspect, heal that emotional aspect, and then be able to do something like a juice cleanse or fast or whatever.
Feast. Yeah, with those types of people, you're going to do juice feasting. And so there's a difference. So they're still going to be able to flood their body with those micronutrients that their body so desperately needs to heal its mind, its gut, and all of the issues that they have. But they're not just doing juice fasting. They're eating lots of leafy green salads. It's lean and green along with that. And some people who just don't feel like they can do the juice fasting, they will do juice feasting, and it's very healthy to do juice feasting. And with feasting, the difference between fasting and feasting is that you still eat your meals, but you're drinking 64 ounces to a gallon of fresh organic juice a day to flood the body with those micronutrients that it needs. And you're going to get lots of protein and amino acids, B12, just packed full of antioxidants. And so you notice within a very short period of time, your skin will glow, your eyes will clear up, you'll have so much energy. The reason people do juice feasting versus fasting, juice feasting takes longer because your body's still having to deal with the digestive process. And so you're not going to get the results as quickly as you do with juice fasting, because you're just basically shutting down the digestive system to the point that your immune system doesn't have to constantly be there to, break down food and pathogens and everything that's coming in. And it's able to scavenge through the body and fix old wounds, scar tissue, pathogens that have been there, and kind of cloak themselves. And so it's ideal for, any chronic disease process.
What about Candida? You mentioned Candida earlier, and I have to tell you guys that I had the Zyto test with Dr. Gramith, and it was phenomenal. I confirmed some things that I thought needed to be addressed. And one of them was Candida. It was like off the chain, off the chain. And so I don't have symptoms like a yeast infection right now or anything to that effect, but it doesn't mean that there's not stuff in my body that could be causing some issues. Now, will a juice cleanse or juice fast or feast help with that too?
Yes, it will. And so one thing that I have clients who are thinking about starting a juice fast is to get a book like this. It's called the Juicing Bible. And so any condition, whether you have Candida, insomnia, you can actually look up the foods that you would want to include in your juice to help treat those conditions. Garlic is good. So you would add garlic to some of your juice. And so it's really helpful. And
so can you show us that book again?
It's called the Juicing Bible. There's several editions. All of them are great. And you can get it at any bookstore or Amazon.
So by Pat Crocker.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not Betty Crocker. Pat Crocker.
Yeah, Pat Crocker.
We just need to make sure we get the right Crocker.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, ideally, you want to start with a juice fast. You know, you don't have to do it like I did and do the full 30 days. You may want to start with a 3-day and then next month do a 5-day and then gradually build up to that. That's totally fine to do. What you don't want to do is do a juice fast and then go back to the standard American diet. The whole purpose of doing a juice fast is to boost your immune system, because this is one thing. If you're worried about your immune system, juice fasting will boost it over 200%. The longer that you do it, it will be even improved upon those results. And so I have seen, like with someone who has a Zyto, their numbers being in the hundreds, which is extremely high and extremely dangerous, brought down after a 30-day juice fast down to below 10. And there's no nutraceutical, there's no supplement that I, recommend that can do that. Only the juice fasting. So that's one reason, I'm very passionate about it. I do a 30-day juice fast once a year. I'll be doing a 30-day juice fast with all of you in August. So whoever wants to go that far, I'll go that far with you. But again,
so you're going to do 30 in August?
I'll do 30 in August.
You'll do 30 in August? I can commit to 7. I'll commit to 7. But on the 7th day, I'll make the decision if I want to continue. Okay. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's fine to do.
So with 30, when you do 30 days, you have to really detach yourself from the world, don't you?
No, I travel and do my juice fast. It's not simple. I would have to take my juicer with me, just stick it in the suitcase and take it with me. A lot of times I would drive instead of fly when I'm juice fasting, but I flew out to Las Vegas for emotion code training, and I was juice fasting. I was like on day 15, 16, and I wasn't about to stop then. So I just did it in the hotel. And so it can be done. Yeah. But ideally you want to kind of be at home so you can prep your juice. You don't have to juice your juices every single meal time, because you want to juice a lot throughout the day, but nobody wants to drag out that juicer and then do it all day long. So what I would do, Lillian, is I would get all of my produce and juice first thing in the morning for 2 to 3 days. And just
do you freeze it? Do you freeze it?
You can freeze it if you want to do it longer than that. But I would just do it and put it in mason jars and keep it in the refrigerator and just grab it. And then I paid my children to do it for me. So they got paid to juice for me and just keep it. Because ideally, if you're juice fasting, you want to, you have to have a minimum of 64 ounces of juice a day if you're an average size adult. But don't limit yourself with that. But that's the minimum, because the calories do matter. And for a woman's body to function, for your brain to function, everything else, you have to have at least 1,200 calories. And so with the 64 ounces of juice, okay, That's about 900 to 1,000 calories. So you
Okay.
really need more than that. And so you're going to drink at least 64, but worked more up towards a gallon. Anytime you get hungry, drink your juice and your water. And so you, like you said, you didn't get hungry. Well, after the first 2 days, it kind of stops. You don't get hungry. Your hypothalamus gland starts to balance out, and you will feel, I don't know if you remember this, but you will be really, really cold most of the time. Okay, that's because it's resetting your thermostat, and that's the hypothalamus gland, and that's a good thing. And so it will balance all of your endocrine system out. It'll heal the gastrointestinal system. It'll flush your colon out. It helps with inflammation in the brain. I mean, in the lymphatic system is the main area, because again, the lymphatic system houses your immune system, and you get a huge push on the immune. And so nothing kind of escapes it. Then all these pathogens or bacteria, viruses, funguses get attacked and destroyed and leaves the body. But that takes going to at least stage 3.
Okay, so that I was
Yeah.
going to ask about stage 3. Is that some 7 to 30 days?
That's 8 to 15 days
8
is
to
stage
15.
3. And that is when you feel the best. And so you go through the first stage as you feel kind of crappy. Second stage, it's kind of on and off. Third stage, you wake up and you're like Wonder Woman or Superman. I mean, you have the best mental clarity. I remember reading and having to study during this, and I remembered everything.
Wow.
In the past,
For real.
I would have to read it several times to retain it. And it's like, wow. And then even the colors around me were sharper. So my vision was better. So those of you, who have vision issues, your vision does improve. The only thing that you might notice that's a little uncomfortable is if you've had like broken bones or injuries in the past, and you had the standard American diet, so you didn't have the nutrients for your body to heal it. You have all this scar tissue. Your immune system starts to chew up that scar tissue. And so one day you wake up and you have that pain in that area that you broke because it's cleaning it up. And sometimes if you have a history of asthma, it gets in there, your immune system starts cleaning the lungs. And so you can feel a little pain. It's very short-lived, like, minutes to hours. And then it goes away and it never comes back. And so that's, something that you want to be aware of, and don't panic. It's excellent that that's happening to you.
I don't know. You're kind of convincing me to do 15 days.
I know.
Yeah.
But then stage 4 is the last stage, and that is day 16 to 30. And that's when your body is now completely adapted to the fast. You feel remarkable. You have more energy and clarity of mind than you've ever had in your life. And you have very few days where you feel lethargic, if at any at all. I know I never experienced that. I just had tons of energy and felt great, and no pain anywhere in my body. Skin glows, teeth whiten, eyes whiten. I mean, it's just remarkable. All the little spots on your nails go away. And so that is what you want to get to, because that is the deepest cleanse that you can do. And that's when your body will reverse itself from multiple types of diseases. Now, I have some patients who do 60 days and 90 days. And so you don't have to worry about cachexia with juice fasting, because that's a myth. People think, oh my God, you're not getting protein, so you're going to lose muscle mass. Oh, you're losing so much weight. You're losing weight only if you have weight to lose. Okay. You're not losing muscle, because we tested with the BIA, which is the body analysis, and no one's losing muscle. They're losing fat and fluid. Okay. So don't be afraid that doing juice fast, because it doesn't even make sense, Lillian. You're pouring food into your body.
Nutrients.
All the nutrients your body needs to function. You are starving to death now. You're not going to be starving to death when you do a juice fast. Your body's going to be as healthy as it's ever been in your life. If you're doing a gallon of juice a day, you're getting 2,000 calories. And so you have nothing to fear. Lots of B12, lots of amino acids, lots of protein.
Do you have to, is there anything in particular that people aren't getting during that time that, you know, like like with vegans, you need to make sure you have DHA or B12? I mean,
you're not getting a lot of the omegas. Okay. And so if your skin starts to feel dry, and it usually that doesn't happen, the first part of the fast, it actually gets really oily as things start coming out. But if you were to do it for probably longer than 30 days, you're going to start getting deficient in omega-3. And so you can take that sublingual and our liquid and just drink that, and that will solve that. For athletes who are doing this, they may want to add some cracked chlorella to just beef up even more protein, because that's a good source of protein. It's also a great product to take after chemotherapy or any kind of toxins that you know are in the body. But a 30-day juice fast will cleanse you of all that as well.
Okay, so I want to remind all of you, if you guys have a question, if you want to join us in this fast, just make sure you email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com. That way we will send you some Zoom links, and we can work with Dr. Gramith so that if there's anything that's going on. What we did was I worked directly with Dr. Clapper, and then I would have a meeting with everybody who was having, because he didn't want to have everybody. He just wanted me, and then I would deal with everybody else. He would just like prep me, like, and we would record it, and then I would put it on the cleanse.
Lillian, what I'll do too is I'll send you my little document that talks about the stages of fasting.
Okay.
And then it also gives you some great recipes, and then I'll send that to you, and you can distribute to anybody who wants to do it.
Perfect.
They kind of need to know what to be looking for so they don't panic if they start having some healing crisis.
Yeah. And prior to going into this fast, you mentioned, you know, if this is the first time, maybe do 3 days or maybe do 5 days, but, you know, don't go into that. Well, I was warned about that. That was my first time doing a water fast, and I did the whole 7 days and I was fine. But prior to the 7 days, I only ate vegan. I only ate raw. I only ate non-processed. And by the time the 3 or 4 days that I went into the water fast, I didn't experience the headaches or the tiredness. I didn't experience any of that.
But you're very healthy as well too. However, that's key to know, that you don't start the juice fast after eating McDonald's or things like that, which I know none of your viewers do. But you want to go down to no animal products the week prior. Just do fruits and veggies, and so you can eat large green salads. You can do some cooked, some raw, and then lots and lots of water. You cannot neglect the water intake because you're drinking so much juice. You still have to get 64 ounces or more of water in on top of
as
the juice.
You're not getting the fourth phase water, because Jerry Pollack, he came on the classroom and he said that the fourth phase of water comes from our vegetables and fruits.
Yeah. But you've got to do both. You've got to drink the water. You've got to, you can't neglect the one. Another important thing is when you break your fast. And so when you're on a longer fast, you cannot go back to the day, last day of the fast, the next day I'm going to eat
McDonald's.
Yeah, go back to McDonald's, because you will make yourself so sick. And even when you eat what you're supposed to eat, and what you do to break a fast is in this little guide. But the first thing that you eat is going to be a raw fruit or a vegetable. You can do it cooked or raw. I prefer just like a raw Granny Smith apple. That is going to, the first time you eat, when you get that fiber down in the gut, it's going to take off that sticky film in the colon that leads to so much colon toxicity and causes the leaky gut. And so your first stool will be just really mucousy. and you'll notice like, wow. And it will happen right after you eat. It's not going to take, you're not going to be constipated at all, because you will notice that you may have a bowel movement all the way through your fast up to day 15 or 18. Many people do. So that makes you realize how much fecal matter you had in your gut. And so
Wow.
this is just a great way to really clean yourself out inside and out. And so be very careful and follow the guidelines of, you can do broths, you can do
For the juice cleanse or coming back out?
you're coming off of it, and
Okay.
you're not going to be eating animal protein until the following week.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't jump into it too
And that's
quick.
for a 30-day, or is that for any time?
It's really for any time. It's just for a 30-day, it's an absolute must.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
an absolute must.
So this is really, really exciting. Okay. So how do you get past, you said that there were some recipes that you have in this, how many different recipes do you work with during this fasting period?
I like variety.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is the apple, carrot, celery, and cucumber. And so that's something I usually start off at least 3 mornings a week with, because it's my favorite. But Lillian, I make this so much fun. And I don't put it in a glass. I use a big, like, margarita glass with a little umbrella. And it's like I'm on the beach. If I could just put a little vodka in it, I would be on cloud 9. But it tastes like that. So I make it fun. I make it taste good. All of my juices and juice recipes, these are specifically for rebuilding your immune system and helping you to overcome cancers. So they're very directed towards the immune system. I have the green drinks, but your majority of your juices, you want greens, and then you're going to do the apples, carrots, sweet potatoes. If you need progesterone,
you can juice sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, yeah, it's a great way to get progesterone and balance out your hormones. And so, yeah, you'll juice half of a sweet potato in one of your juices. You can do the beet, carrot, ginger, and turmeric. It's delicious. And I will use a lot of turmeric, a lot of ginger, dandelion. All of those are added into my juices to help certain systems of the body. But that's where the juicing Bible comes in. So if you are prone to UTIs, or if you have, gut dysbiosis or brain fog or whatever, halitosis, any of those, you can actually look up the recipes specifically for those conditions and start including those into your daily routine as well. But don't do just the same juices, like same 2 juices a day for the whole 30 days. You need to get as many different foods into your body to get a wide variety of those.
And do you cover that in your manual? Awesome.
Yep.
So you said that you do like a batch. You juice a batch and then you put it away. Now, for me, I'm already thinking about how I'm gonna, take a huge batch of that and then make it and then freeze it. And then what I did just recently, we did a 21-day transformation or infection protection from Dr. Joel Furman. And part of it was juicing some juices. And so what I do, I would juice it and I'd stick it in the freezer. And then when I take it, when I drink my thawed out one, that day I'd take the frozen one and I'd put it in the refrigerator. So it would have 24 hours to thaw. Is that okay?
Yep, that's perfectly fine to do. And so, yeah, you can do multiple batches. When I do mine for the day, I will do them in 32-ounce mason jars. And so I'll do 4, for the day, and whether I drink it all or not. And so each one will be a different type of juice for me. And so the first one may be the carrots, the celery, the spinach, whatever. The morning, pick me up, get me going, my cup of coffee like juice. And then I'll have more of a vegetable juice. But I do use a lot of the Granny Smith apples, or maybe even a little bit of pineapple to sweeten it to where it tastes good, but not too many fruits, mostly vegetables, a little bit of fruit to kind of make it taste really delicious. And then, like I said, I use the ginger. I always have one that has a little bit of a bite to
I
it.
love
And the beet in ginger is delicious. And beet is very purifying for the blood. Beets and carrots are two of the vegetables that are most effective on shutting off circulating tumor cells.
Really?
And so they have so much more benefit than people realize.
Beets
and
and ginger?
Beets and carrots.
And carrots.
Yeah, beets and carrots.
Now they're very sweet. There is a sweetness to beets. There's a sweetness to carrots. Now, do you juice them together, or those are two separate base?
I juice them. I have juiced them together. You can juice them separate. And then, no, that's one thing that people are concerned with cancer, is because sugar feeds cancer. And there's definitely truth to that, but it's more refined sugar. Then nobody gets cancer from eating too much fruits or vegetables. Okay. Correct. And so if you have Candida, you can feed Candida a little bit, but I have done the 30-day juice fast doing lots and lots of beets and carrots. The very first time that I did it was the Hallelujah plan. Remember that? It was all carrot juice. And I remember that the Candida came out in the mouth. There was white on the tongue and in the sides. And so at first I thought, oh my goodness, I'm just feeding it. It's getting worse, but then it went away. And as I continued to do that, so it was
leaving your body. Yeah.
So, I have been doing juice fasting, like I said, for years and years, and have seen everything, have heard everything that people struggle with. So typically I can help you through the process. Just don't quit, continue, set your goal and meet your goal. And I will teach you how to monitor yourself so you know that you're safe. Like check your blood glucose, check your blood pressure, check your pulse, all of
Should we get a glucometer?
I would. Yeah, I would. The first couple of days, it's naturally going to go down to 70 or a little bit below, but then it balances out. Okay. And then it's running under 95, which is normal. And so that's one thing. I have patients who are already diagnosed with diabetes. They're fearful of doing juice fast and should not be, because they do get much more protein, and protein stabilizes their blood sugar. So their diet of their fast is different because they're doing more greens and less the beets and carrots, but they're still getting some of the beets and carrots and some of the fruits in there. But we can turn around type 2 diabetes with juice fasting and changing diet and lifestyle. And if they don't want to do the fasting, they can do the feasting. But I've seen it over and over again. Many of my clients have gotten off of insulin by doing this.
Now, you also said that beets and carrots help with the killing T cells cancer. So it's funny, beets kill cancer. So it beats cancer. So with that in mind, so if you said people with anorexia or some eating disorder, figure out different things and how to heal that part of your life, and then perhaps have a feast, a juice feast, as opposed to a juice cleanse or a juice fast. Or but people that do have cancer, you are saying this is great for people who have cancer, or maybe people who want to avoid getting cancer.
Right. It's a great preventative. That's why I do it. Yeah, I do it, 1 month a year, sometimes twice a year as a prevention. Another reason I do that is it saves me on how much supplementation I need, because I like to juice every single day, but then I do the juice fast where I am cleansing my body, and that will cut down on the need of detoxifiers, anti-inflammatories, whether it's natural or pharmaceutical, throughout the year. And so it will save you, by making this a normal practice in your life, it will save you a lot of heartache, a lot of expense, too with supplements.
Well, you know, I remember when I was going through my water fast, Dr. Clapper did not want me to take medications. He encouraged people to stop taking their medications during this time and to just allow the body to kind of find its way. And he would ask me 3 questions when he first would meet me. You know, how do you feel? What's your pulse? And there's a third one. Oh, he'd have me take the beats, what my beats were. And there were several things. And then he would say, oh, do you feel lightheaded? You know, what's your pulse? And there was another one, I forget. Anyway, and so once I said, you know, I would answer him, then he'd say, okay, you're good to do another day. Do you have that kind of barometer check too?
Yeah, so yeah, I use the pulsing, the blood glucose, and then just blood pressure as well. But also ask if, you know, you feel like you're running a fever. It's a good thing to run low-grade fevers during the fast, because your immune system, that's a sign that it's turned on. It's trying to clean up. It's destroying pathogens.
Because heat is good.
Fever is good.
Fever.
So it gives me.
Fever is an enemy.
Yeah, exactly. And squash it. And that's the worst thing that you can do, because you drive that pathogen deeper into your organs, glands, and systems to deal with it another day, you know, and so it will rear its ugly head over and over again. You know, think about it, Lillian. Used to, when people would get the flu, they may be sick a day or 2 days. Now people are getting sick for weeks. It is not because the flu virus is any worse. It is because their immune system is so compromised that it cannot fight it off. So it's really, really struggling to fight it off. And then we've pushed it in further into our bodies over the years with antihistamines and ibuprofen and aspirin and things like that. And so, you know, what do you expect? It has just really suppressed our immune system. And that's one thing that, you know, really upsets me about what's going on in our world today. And you sterilizing your hands so much, and you're covering your mouth and nose. There is no telling what type of respiratory issues that are going to develop from that. These masks are not made to use and wear for long periods of time. I'm already seeing patients developing acne all over their face from wearing it. A lot of waitresses and waiters. I'm seeing a lot of more gut dysbiosis, lightheadedness. I was in a store the other day, and the guy that was helping me had to just put his head down in his legs. He was getting so dizzy. And it's like, oh my God. And so I had to educate him on the, you know, dangers of those masks that they're wearing. And so, you know, you don't need them if you are not near some. I see people wearing them, Lillian, in their cars by themselves. That's crazy.
Smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
They have it down here and they're smoking.
That's at a whole nother level.
See, we have got to stop looking at all the distractions in our life, and we need to start looking at what's really happening. And I'm not going to get into the mask because I want to be talking. Dr. Judy Mikovits is coming into the classroom next Friday. She just wrote a book called it's about masking, and you know, the 10 reasons why masks should have a limited use, you know, and why masks are not good for us. And so that is like, okay, I don't want to hear about facts because I am going to hold on to what the CDC is telling me or what the mainstream media is telling me, which is erroneous. It is absolutely, and because
it's different than what they were telling you at the beginning of this.
That's right.
You know, when they were saying, you don't need them. Only doctors need them. You don't need them.
Yeah. And what we're finding out is, you know, that's the example that they're giving us. Well, doctors wear it. You know, they have what? Let's take off their masks during surgery. Well, here's the deal: the rooms that they're doing surgery in have extra oxygen being pumped in, and they're doing this so that the doctors protect the patient from spitting into an open wound. And so that's not what's happening out in the world.
Blood spurt coming to their, you know, mouth. And that's why they wear safety goggles. I mean, who's wearing safety goggles out there? the viruses can penetrate through your eyes as well, your ears, not just the nose and mouth. But yeah, so one thing that I read that a doctor friend of mine had posted was, what is all this craziness about what's going on? People, wake up. It is your immune system.
Correct.
That is what you need to be focused on, because if it's not this virus, it's another virus, it's another bacteria, it's another pathogen that you have to be worried. The only real defense you have is to build your immune system up so that it can combat that. Don't suppress your immune system with alcohol and sugar and standard American diet. Juicing and juice feasting, that's going to boost your immune system astronomically. And so that's one reason I wanted to talk about this during this time, is because if people would just wake up and start juicing, getting those critical micronutrients in your body that it needs to heal, you don't have to be fearful of what's going on.
Yeah, we've become germaphobes, and I am a recovering germaphobe. I'm telling you, I'll lick the guardrail at this point, because I know now the truth. We're anyway.
That's how you build an immunity. You have to have it.
I have this expression when I love you, and I'm going to lick your face.
That's right.
And I work from doctor's office. Before this whole pandemic, I don't visit doctor's offices anymore. But I used to sanitize my hands before I got out of the car. When I got in the car, when I left when I was in there, I would sanitize. To the point where I have no fingerprints. So I can literally rob a bank and nobody would know it's me. And fortunately, I could wear a mask and nobody would really know it's me. No, I'm just joking about that. But it's true that now, I use essential oils. I work on building that. That was our first line of defense in the Lillian McDermott radio show classroom, which was, let's build our immune system, because right away I knew there was something more to this virus than meet the eye. So I started studying and researching it before I even came out of the closet and said, something's not smelling right here. It looks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. And everybody's going, but it's a puppy. But it's not. It is not a puppy. Anyway, so with that in mind, I want you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber. Like me on social media. Follow me. Send me a notification, especially the Heal Tribe. Those of you in the Heal Tribe, this will be an opportunity for all of us to come together to do a juice, feast, cleanse, whatever it is that you feel like you want to try, whether it's 3 days or 7 days. I'm thinking I'm going to do more than 7 days. I have to check my schedule, because before I did a fastcation, I might have to do a juicecation. So with that in mind, make sure you check out my sponsors and figure out ways that you can work with my sponsors, support my sponsors the way that they're supporting the classroom. And also you can become an enrolled student and donate if you can give $1 a month or $1,000 a month, please, whatever you can do to help support the classroom so that we can learn and grow together. I am really excited about juicing. I've done a juice cleanse once before, and I did not want to go back to eating. I did not, because I felt so light. I felt so good. And that was back then, before I met Dr. Furman, before I learned about Dr. Cowden, before I learned about, how food is medicine. Can you imagine what it's going to be like now? On steroids. It's going to be on steroids. And by the way, if you want to learn more about Dr. Jennifer Gramith, go to rightwayhealthandwellness.com. That's rightwayhealthandwellness.com. And she is in Georgia, Woodstock, Georgia. And her number is 404-474-2100. Robert, if you can write that down, it's 404-474-2100. But the email is rightwayhealthandwellness.com. I want to really quickly tell you about the Zyto. And you're still are you still running your special for Zyto?
What was the special?
It was at like $150 and you get.
It's for the immunity. Yes. For the immunity panel to see where your immune system is. It's, I think it's $145.
145. Reach out to her, and so that you can see where you're at before you start doing this cleanse. We got 1 minute left before we go from our podcast, which is just absolutely kicking it. For those of you who listen on podcasts, I absolutely adore you as well. Sometimes I ignore the fact that I do have a podcast, but I love you, love you, love you. Please feel free to join us live if you'd like to, and make sure you like and follow us, and share this podcast or podcast, which was what I call it, and YouTube and Facebook as well. So last words for the famous.
Well, I hope that you all will join us on this juice fast. It will change your life and give you that power that you need to really overcome any health challenge that you have. And so I will volunteer some of my time to help you discover what you need. So
I am excited. And of course, we're going to have our teacher's pets. So make sure if you have any questions after you heard all about this juice fast or cleanse, like and give us little hearts. That's the only way we know you were in the classroom today. But remember, love this woman. She's amazing. And let's continue to heal together. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Jennifer Gramith wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job. Ooh, I made it through.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Gramith, is there anything that is on your list that we need to talk about that we just didn't get the time because we kind of went off on the face mask thing?
Well, it just got to be said.
It's just got to be said. I've been talking a little bit more about it, and I just did a video because, with asthma, I've had like PTSD, how many times I've woken up in the middle of the night gasping for air. Fortunately, my immune system is healthy enough that, I am healthy. I am healthy. I keep saying that I am healthy. And even if I have Candida, like when you read that off the chain Candida, I'm like, well, I kind of knew something.
No, quite right.
Not quite right. And so that is going to help me. That's I am going to be an unwelcome host for Candida, because Candida is supposed to get crazy, wild, crazy when you die, because that's the bug that takes your body and decomposes it.
Decays
it. Yeah.
And we don't need that when we're still living and breathing.
No, not at all. Not at all. So is there anything that we forgot?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. I'll send you a copy of all of that so that you can, send it out to whoever wants to join us, and then you can let me know if you want to do a check-in especially for the first week.
I do, because I get to see you every day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then maybe then we'll do marks like for people who go on a little bit longer.
And we'll do that.
And then come back and we're all back after our juice fast, and how do you feel? What was the extent of it? What did you notice that changed, and all of that?
Well, as we were right before we went on the air, we were looking at the 7th of August to do that. And I said, it's my mom's birthday. Doesn't matter if it's my mom's birthday or not. I mean, what am I going to do?
Are you taking her out to eat, or?
Well, unfortunately, and this is something that I'm going to say it as strongly as I can say it without being emotional. But when we first got the coronavirus and people were being treated, and majority of the people were the elderly, they were dropping like flies. And we know what happened in New York, where Cuomo allowed, COVID-19 patients, elderly, back into their assisted living facilities. And we have lost a lot of the greatest generation, the most wonderful generation before their time, because of ventilators. So the ventilators, they put them on ventilators because they were misdiagnosing what was really truly happening in the body, which I can be cynical and say, population control, and that was a way to get rid of them, but I'm not going to say that. You got that. I'm not going to say it. But one would question what the motivation is of doing that to the most precious, precious people. So my mom and dad are in an assisted living facility, and they have been on lockdown since March. I took my mom out because my dad had surgery, and I had my mom here, and my mom has advanced dementia, advanced. And so it was very difficult for her to be here without my dad, who had just had surgery and possibly a mini stroke. My dad is 90, my mom is 86. And so I thought, now that my dad is stronger, let's get my mom back in there. And they quarantined them, even though we're not allowed in. Within the community, they're being quarantined. So after 3 months of not being able to hug or kiss or touch my parents, I finally told my sister, I'm bringing them here. I'm bringing them here because if they're going to quarantine them anyway, and we can't, I'm bringing them here. So they came over. The decay on their body, the deterioration was so severe that even my son, when he hugged me, when he hugged my parents that day, my son said, I cannot believe this is Ava and Papi. I cannot believe it. So if the ventilators aren't killing our precious generation, that precious generation, isolation is doing it.
Right, I agree.
Isolation. And I will tell you this, my parents have been great teachers of what to do and what not to do. And one of the things that they stopped doing was they stopped growing with technology. Like my husband's mom, Robert's mom, she texts, we FaceTime, we do it. She's 87 years old. She's my superhero with a cape. She lives at home. She's amazing, amazing. But my parents stopped. They stopped. And when I say, I don't want to learn that app, I don't want that app, I'm thinking my parents, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I'm going to learn. I'm going to be texting with my kids when I'm going to be beaming into their home when I get older, like the Jetsons. I mean, that's what I want because I've seen how little interaction. I have to drive an hour just to wave at my parents from their balcony. So this is horrible.
It is horrible.
It is horrible.
Most definitely.
So what advice do you have for people that are so focused on the distraction of the coronavirus?
The main thing is that you have to live your life. This whole being so fearful of this virus. And I mean, this is one virus of many, many, many that we have exposure, and we've never lived in such fear. And so, I would say, you've got to live your life. You cannot continue to stay totally isolated. Now, if you're elderly and you have a compromised immune system, wear a mask if you're going out in public, wear gloves for that short period of time that you're out, but go to your family's house. You don't have to wear that at your house and around healthy individuals. Now, if you're someone in your house and they have a temperature or they have fatigue, this whole asymptomatic carrying that around, there's no research that shows that they're contagious.
And even if you read the CDC, or if you read you'll see the headlines, asymptomatic positives, but then if you read the whole article, it says, like that disclaimer, when you take a pill, it's like, it may cause bowel movements, it's could even death. It's like, it says, this has not been proven.
Right.
It's
exactly.
highly unlikely.
Catch it from someone who's asymptomatic. That's exactly right. And that's what the research has showed, that the people who are asymptomatic can, test positive. And I question, whether all of these positive tests are accurate, just because you've heard about groups of medical practitioners that are suspicious sending in blank swabs
Coming back positive.
positive. I just had a patient in my office today that told me that one of her patients went into the doctor. She was supposed to get tested, but they had to cancel her appointment. And so she didn't even go into the doctor's office. And the very next week, she got a positive corona test. She calls the doctor's office. She said, I didn't even come in and have this done. How am I getting a positive? Well, you have it then, because you have a positive. She's like, I didn't have a swab. I didn't have it done. They argued with her because they didn't want to admit that they made a mistake.
Grave mistake. And, think about it. All this testing. I was involved at the beginning. I was contacted by a lab to be a part of the testing. I contacted all my people, all my doctors, all my list. And after a meeting that I had with the lab, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Now I could have made a lot of money. But I did not. I did not want to have anything to do with it. I want to sleep well at night. And they're swabbing fruit. They're swabbing goats, and they're coming back positive. So there is something tremendously wrong that if we don't wake up, our freedoms will be taken away. That's why I started I Am 99. I hope that you join us, Dr. Gramith, on I Am 99. And all of you, there's 3 questions you have to answer in order to be into the group, because it's very important that we be respectful. Now, this isn't about talking about masks. It's not about division. It's about uniting the 99% that's being controlled by the 1% of the 1%. So we need to figure out solutions, what to do. I'm going to have Dr. Michelle Lomasa Schrader talk about Ho'oponopono, so we can do the Ho'oponopono together at the same time. And just whatever we can do to bring light and love into the world, instead of all the division and bickering about whether you're wearing a mask or not wearing a mask.
Yeah, I was reading, I have a founder's Bible, and, this country was founded on biblical principles. And, you start reading the letters from, past presidents during political times, and, it always gets ugly. But it was so sweet how they would ask for forgiveness, and they loved one another, and they tried to encourage and build up. And now we're at a point in society where everyone's tearing down. Nobody's listening to reason or logic or science. It's just like, it's all about your emotions, and you're just allowing your emotions to run wild. And it's like anything, you can come up with anything and people will buy into that. And so it's really frustrating to me, because I pride myself on just being able to discern truth versus non-truth. Mm-hmm. And people need to do that. You really cannot be a sheep in this world. It's dangerous, because you're going to fall off a cliff if you're a sheep in this world today. You need to research these things for yourself and come up with what is logical, what is truth, what is fabricated, because there's a lot of confusion out there and people are just getting swept away. Mm-hmm. And it's purposely done, if you ask me, in my opinion, to scare. Tactics like this has happened throughout history, not in our, in our country and in other countries, and too, and we've seen the outcome of that. Yeah. And so we really have got to wise up, pull our head out of the sand. We've got to, start getting back to what is true. It's not about what we feel. It's about what is true and what is accurate and what is science-based and what is speculation. And you don't make decisions, especially critical decisions about your health or the economy, based upon fear. We know that. We grew up being taught that. You don't make any decisions when you're under such distress that you can't see clearly. You wait till your mind is clear, and you separate that, and you make a wise decision. And logic is just blown out the window. It just amazes me.
I just posted a video this week about my weekend, because I was mentioning about with a lung condition, although I take vitamin C, I'm off all my asthma medication. I want to stay that way. And so I know what it's like to gasp for air in the middle of the night. And so I went out in Florida. I don't know what's happening in Georgia, but they're like, all of a sudden there's an escalation. Even our governor, whereas before was saying, don't worry about it. People can go in. Now they're saying now everybody has to wear a mask. So because I have a lung condition and I know that the mask is not going to protect me because I have eyeballs, I have ears, I have hands, I have a nose. And I see most people wearing their mask with their nose exposed, which, and there's so many gaps. And so I went around and I videotaped and I gave my impression of every place we went to. And people were so kind. I did not experience the looks or anything because I'm not looking for them. I will smile, I will be kind. And I went to every single place and I thanked them for letting me go in without a mask. And I heard almost every single one of them that they're being forced to wear a mask. Even one manager from a place that I had gone to had throat cancer the previous year, doesn't produce saliva glands. And wearing the mask is so bad. And he's being forced as a manager to wear a mask. And this is creating stuff in the body because the brain is going to think flight or fight, all these different things that are happening. And I posted this and I said, listen, I know who my listeners are. I know who my followers are. The ones that are mean and say, oh, you lost me, or those aren't our listeners. Those aren't our followers, because we need to be kind and listen to one another. And I think one of the pulse that we need to do when it comes to this is to say, do I dislike the other person? Do I hate the other person? Do I want to fight with the other person? That's not of God. That is not of truth.
Right. That's exactly right. I'm glad you said that. I dealt with this just in my practice where I had a patient come in, and I do not require patients to wear masks. They can if they want to, but they are not required to for that very reason. They already have a compromised immune system. This is a very safe and environment. We use ozone, we use ultraviolet light to sterilize. We wipe every surface area down in between appointments. There's no need. However, if they feel like it, they can. Well, I had one who thinks it's absolutely necessary that everyone wears a mask. And to the point she attacked other patients in the office by saying, you obviously don't care if we live or die because you don't wear a mask, and which really upset me. And I sat her down and I talked to her, said, okay, let's talk about the facts of these masks. Before you start attacking anyone, let's just talk about these viruses and the size of viruses versus bacteria versus pollens. A mask will protect you from pollen. And I know everybody says, oh, well, it's the molecule, it's the water molecule, that the virus is in. The virus itself is a, 0.05 microns at that. And this only filters, something larger than a 10 micron. And then you're going to, if you were to sneeze, it's going to stop the projection, but it's still going to go. I mean, it fogs your glasses, when you have them on, still going up and out. That is not what they're meant for. And like you said, it goes in your eyes just as much as it goes in the other, areas of the body. So that's not something that people should be grabbing a hold of. Oh, if I don't give them that false hope that if they have a mask, they're safe. They're not safe with the mask either. They're safe if they will build up their immune system. It goes back to that. It just goes back to common sense medicine. And, and then if you're worried, distance yourself a little bit, and there's precautions you can take because it is a nasty virus. I understand that. I think the increase is because we're testing everybody. Yeah.
For some, right? Because some people don't even know they're having it.
Yeah. For people with compromised immune system, it can be, but so can pneumonia, so can the flu, so can other viruses.
And nobody wears masks for that.
Nobody wears masks for that. And so it's just, it's a game of just trying to instill fear upon the population.
Because fear
Right.
causes our body to do what?
Inflammation and breakdown and sickness. And, yeah.
I can't hear. What did you
I
just?
said inflammation. Yeah. So when you are stressed out and you're fearful, that is more damaging to your immune system than any virus, bacteria. It sets you up because it lowers your immune system so that that pathogen has a chance to flourish in the body. So don't buy into the fear. Think positive thoughts, meditate daily, pray daily, build your immune system up with your mind, and then also with the things that you put in your body.
Yes.
And so I think that's very important for people to grasp. I don't wear masks. I have people look at me because I have on scrubs and they're thinking, well, she should know better. I do know better. That's why I don't wear masks, and I haven't from the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
I have a friend that says that she doesn't wear a mask either. And so when people approach her, she says she has a conditions. And so she doesn't say what condition it is. You're not allowed to ask. But she says if anybody ever asks, she can say, I did my research. I have intelligence, or I'm not afraid. That's her condition. And she's done the research. And so she that's what she wants to do. I do have, the way I show respect to people is that if I'm sick, I stay at home. And if I am sick, I promise I will wear a mask. If I have to go out there, if I'm sick, if that helps, then I will wear a mask. But if I am healthy, then there's no study that they've been able to show me that says that if I'm healthy, I'm asymptomatic. This is, fear mongering, and we've never done this ever, ever, ever. And we've seen some flus. 2017 was worse than this year. And I just think that it's enough. We just need to stop being distracted. We need to see that our inner breathing, our inner fighting, they're breaking us down into small little groups, and we're doing the fighting for the 1% of the 1%. That's the I am 99. Now, another thing that's happening that I want to alert all of you, if you want to be a part of this, Dr. Lorraine Day, who is just like another superhero of mine, we're going to start a Bible study. It's called New Truths. And it's a series, the New Truth series, and it's going to be the book of Revelation. So if you are curious as to what's in the book of Revelation, or some people are telling me this is the end of time, why not? Let's see what they have to say. Let's see what God has to say about this. And Dr. Lorraine Day has studied God's word through the original Bible. And so I'm excited to co-host this with her. And we're going to start August 17th. August 17th, that's when we start. And Dr. Gramith says, oh, fasting and praying. Isn't that great? So we're going to do this. Yes, for 12 weeks, a 12-week Bible study. So we're going to have our registration will open on August 3rd. And it's going to be $47 for anybody who would like to be a part of it. Just reserve your spot because the space is limited, $47. But then once I don't know how many days we're going to offer that for. And then it'll be $60 for this 12-week course. And we're going to have opportunities to ask Dr. Day. Now, if you don't know who Dr. Day is, she was in hospice, was told she would die from cancer. And during that time that she's a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon. She learned that how she needed to eat and think and live. And that was 26 years ago, that she came back from stage 4, you're going to die. And all the doctors didn't do chemo. And all the different doctors who told her that if she didn't do chemo, she would die, are all gone from cancer from doing chemo.
Her testimony is amazing. And her testimony is amazing. And I would love to join that.
Oh, I hope you do, because we can do that together. It's going to be starting Mondays, the 17th of August, every Monday from 7 to 9. So from 7 to 7:30, there's going to be her giving her talk. and her research, and she's going to share about that, from the original Bible. We're going to follow along with her. And then from 8:30 to 9, there'll be Q&A. So everybody will have an opportunity to be a part of the Q&A. And but we'll stop at 9. So at 9 o'clock, we stop. Whether there's questions or not, we could probably hold on to the questions to the. But I am super excited. When do we have this opportunity with Dr. Lorraine Day?
Yeah, never. And she is the perfect example about what we're talking about today with the juice fasting, because this is part of her journey. She changed her diet. And what you said, that she's outlived all the doctors who told her she would die. She is remarkable. How many times do you hear about, if a person makes it through chemotherapy and radiation, that they don't have a reoccurrence? It's very rare, because chemotherapy and certain radiations actually turns on your circulating tumor cells, guaranteeing a secondary cancer, because you didn't develop cancer because you were deficient at chemotherapy and radiation, and those are known carcinogens. And Dr. Lorraine Day, her testimony, her story, her research that she did and transformed her life is remarkable. So
I'm excited. I don't know if you've heard her testimony of when she wrote a letter to her ex-husband, and her ex-husband and a friend, or the woman that was sleeping with her ex-husband, and apologized and asked for forgiveness for all the mean things, even though they were true. She said them in a wrong spirit. And she wrote these letters to them, and that was just part of her healing, and as to the resentment that she was harboring, the lifestyle that she had, the food that she was eating, all those things. And so she's created a 10-step program, and it's God's way. She said that there's no healer greater than God.
Yeah, actually, I do know her story, and it became part of my story when I went through my divorce, and I had a lot of physical issues showing up because of the bitterness and resentment. Same thing, had an affair. I did the exact same thing. I wrote them letters knowing that, they would probably laugh or think it was ridiculous, but it was so freeing. And I did learn that from her. So that I am eternally grateful, because if I had not done that, I would probably not be here today.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for your I hope that you can join us. I just turned to YouTube right now, and we have Subdued Light. And so she said, all the science PPL, is it people? Is that what PPL stands for? Okay, I'm not really good with these kinds of chats, but PPL, I know, wants you to be forced vaccinated with an untested vax, side effects, death. That isn't very good science, let alone the possibility of what we think. And so she's saying that it's crazy that she's or he subdued light. So I didn't mean to give you a gender. I said I try to think that evil will lose and good God wins, and that is why Dr. Lorraine Day is going to remind us. That's why we're doing the study, because the last time she was in the classroom, Dr. Gramith, I was feeling so disempowered. And during the whole entire time, I thought, I'm not going to put her on the spot, but I'm going to ask her, because I've been wanting to do the book of Revelations. I've never studied the book of Revelations. I want to know, I want to do this with people. I want to do this with people. And it was planted in my heart to ask her after the class if she would do a Bible study with me. And somebody asked if she would do a Bible study. And so I thought, heck, they asked, so let me ask. So that started. And she is we had our first meeting on Monday, and we are so excited.
excited. I definitely want to join that. So it's on Monday evenings at
Monday
7.
evening starting. Okay. So if you want to get the early bird special or the pre-registration, that's going to be August 3rd. And that we're going to put the page up on that day, and you will have, 24 hours to sign in, reserve your spot. And then after that, it's going to be $60 for the 12-week. That'll help defray some of the cost and the extra time that we will be spending on this. And Dr. Lorraine Day is donating all this to the classroom, which is, she is amazing. She is amazing. But don't tell her I told you guys, because she doesn't want to.
I know. Whoops.
Whoops. Okay. I didn't mean to say that. Okay. So with that in mind, I want to invite you to I Am 99, to the New Truths series with Dr. Lorraine Day. The first book we're going to do is the Book of Revelations. And we're going to see, just like God healed her and taught her his ways, God's ways, we're going to learn about what we can do, how we can do it. Are there any loopholes? I want to know about the loopholes. But before we go, I want to remind all of you of this incredible doctor that is with us today, Dr. Jennifer Gramith. You can reach out to her at rightwayhealthandwellness.com. That's rightwayhealthandwellness.com. She's in Georgia, but she does teleconferencing all the time. The number, if you want to schedule some time with her, or if you want to schedule the Zyto, you just put your hand on a cradle and it reads all the stuff that's going on with you. It's amazing, amazing. And you get some time with the interpretation with Dr. Gramith as well. And that's $145, you said, Dr. Gramith?
Correct. Yeah.
And so you can call at 404-474-2100. It's time to start looking at what is the body needing. And this is a good number to start with, 404-474-2100. Okay, so one more thing. Subdued Light said, your Harry interview was great too. The dancing was top notch. I also danced with my chair. You see, that's what builds our immune system. That's why I dance.
Right.
You know how many people say, oh, why do you dance? Why do you dance? Well, I know, first of all, you don't know me. And this is a waste of time. No, dancing. How can you be angry when you're dancing?
Right. And it's good for your lymphatic system, which helps your immune system. So keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everybody, it's time to say goodbye. We've taken so much of Dr. Gramith's time, and I know she willingly does it. So, but thank you so much. You know where to call, make your appointment if you have any questions. Now, do you guys have, before we go, do you have just the consultation fee or something
Yes.
if they just want to ask you questions?
Yeah, so we do have a consultation. You can have a consultation. It's typically $75. But if you mention that you heard about it through the Lillian McDermott show, you can get a free consultation. And yeah, so just call in and you'll get to talk to me directly for about 15 minutes. And we'll talk about your case. I'll give you any recommendations that I can, and just some further guidance. So be happy to help you that way.
I absolutely love that. Okay, you heard it straight from Dr. Gramith's mouth. We are going to continue to take our health back. Forget the distractions. Don't focus on what you don't want, which is to get sick. Focus on what you want, which is to be healthy. And we attract what we want. So for that, we'll say goodbye. And I'm excited that you're going to do the Bible study with us. So